Do you know what animal prosthetics are? Animal prosthetics are artificial devices that are used to replace limbs, especially on animals, usually a leg. Now, today, my name is Juliette McKinley. I am in Paulding County Horse and Pony Club. I'm 14 years old and I go to Holy Spirit Preparatory School. I'm in 8th grade and I was on the Northwest Junior Board. And today I'm going to be talking to you about why we need animal prosthetics, why I want to be a veterinary prosthetist, the need for veterinary prosthetists, examples of veterinarians working with prosthetists, and amazing animals who have thrived with prosthetics. I first became interested in animal prosthetics when I had seen the movie Dolphin Tale, and it seemed so amazing that an animal could have a prosthetic. When I was 9 years old, I had gone to Georgia Tech, the Center for Prosthetic Research, where I had met a man named Robert Kissenberg, who not only showed me human prosthetics, but animal prosthetics as well. And I had seen a show called My Bionic Pet that featured animals with prosthetics. This sparked my interest in animal prosthetics ever since I was young. Now, I have consulted with some experts, and not only human experts, but also Molly and Emma, who have thrived and lived on with their prosthetics. Usually, when you're driving down the highway, you will see the occasional bumper sticker of pet owners adorning their pets. Now, it was very difficult to find the statistics of all of the animals with prosthetics in the United States. To my knowledge, it does not exist. But I was able to find all of the numbers of people who owned a pet in their household. In 2012, 66.5 million people owned a household pet, and about 63.2% consider them family. If we assume at least 50% consider their pet as a family member, and if they needed a prosthetic, they would get them. That's why there is a huge need here. It has become more common to see animals with prosthetics. There is the show My Bionic Pet, as you saw in my inspiration, the Bionic Vet, which is a veterinarian that works with prosthetics, and Molly the Pony, who has her own children's book. There are only 39 facilities in the entire world that offer animal prosthetics and orthotics. Only 30 of them are in the U.S. Now, there are none in Georgia, but the nearest one is in Tennessee. Now, sometimes a human prosthetist will step up to the job and do the animal prosthetist. And there is no formal training to become a veterinary prosthetist. You cannot go into a degree for veterinary prosthetist. You have to usually go into human prosthetics. Nikki Hansen is a great example, and she's the current prosthetic developer of Molly's current prosthetic. Derek Campagna has made 100 prosthetics. Two examples are Atlanta's own Abel, an 8-year-old Doberman who lost his leg due to cancer, and Derby, who is the first dog with 3D printed prosthetics, and he runs 2 to 3 miles a day. The pleasure of consulting with Dr. Ned Vlaos of Rocky Mountain Equine Hospital, where he dispelled the belief that weight is the greatest factor when applying a prosthetic to a large animal by placing pins above the area of amputation, which allowed weight to be applied immediately, while also allowed the stump to heal. This is where the cast and the pins are while the horse is healing, and this is the final prosthetic. The average cost of prosthetics are $4,000 to $5,000 of Hanger prosthetics. And the average cost for the surgery, 2 months of treatment, and rehabilitation are $12,000. One of Dr. Ted Vlaos' favorite sayings is, "A horse has to be a horse." And if you go on the Rocky Mountain Equine Hospital website, you will see horses with prosthetics doing just that. Now, one of my favorite patients is Bella, who was a burro foal who was left out into 15-degree Minnesota. When the vet saw she couldn't do anything, and she had developed frostbite in her hind leg, they picked her up, scooped her in a pickup truck, and drove all the way from Minnesota to Wyoming, where the surgery was a huge success. And as you can see, she's a full-grown donkey with her pretty pink prosthetic, and she lives very happily. the story of Emma, I'm going to share with you a great example of a vet working with prosthetists. Emma had arrived at Auburn on April 26, 2012, when she was just 2 days old, and as you can see, her right hind leg was deformed. Dr. Fred Cadwell, the equine surgeon, had laid out the options for her owners: euthanasia, to try to correct with surgery, or amputation and prosthesis applied. They went with amputation and prosthesis applied. The surgery was a huge success, and here was our first prosthetic made by Billy Fletcher. I have had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Fred Cadwell, Taylor Jones, who is her current prosthetist, and Dr. Brendlemeal, her loving owner. And Emma, as you can see, is showing off at Auburn and lives very happy today. At the beginning of this presentation, I asked you why we needed prosthetics for animals and why animals thrive with prosthetics. Through the amazing story of Molly, I will share with you. Molly is an example and gives hope to those with and without disabilities, young and old. This little boy had a communication disorder and did not want to communicate with anybody. After Dr. Ellison did not know of this, walked Molly up, he stopped, turned, and started petting her. Ever since that day, he's been able to communicate. This little boy had lost his leg due to cancer and did not want to go to school. After meeting Molly, he grabbed his backpack and hopped on the school bus. Molly has also been to veterans hospitals and has even been inside children's libraries. He's also been on New York Times. And trust me, this pony has been everywhere. On the bottom of her prosthetic, you will see a smiley face. So wherever she goes, she leaves smiles. And on the book that I have, she signed it for me. Today I have talked to you about animal prosthetics and why we needed animal prosthetics and why I wanted to be a veterinary prosthetist and why there is a need for veterinary prosthetists and how there is not a degree in them. The examples of veterinarians working with prosthetists and amazing animals who not only thrived but given back to the community with their prosthetics. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed.